This is a setup on an ESP James Hetfield Truckster, and it's got that relic look from the factory. Before I start the setup, just about to change some strings here, and don't come across these too often, but it's kind of a good idea. You can see that the stop piece won't just come out once you've taken the strings off. It has these little Allen screws that are holding it in place, and that's probably so that when you take strings off, it doesn't clunk down and slide off the back of the guitar. I'm assuming that's the reason someone came up with this idea. So you just have to loosen those two screws quite a bit, looks like, and then this stop piece will come off. And the same with the bridge. It's got two Allen screws. This just takes a little turn, and now it will pop off there. And actually the two screws on the bridge piece is kind of nice, because it always happens that you're working on a guitar and you turn it over and this thing just falls off. So this will keep it on there until you really want to take it off, and you can loosen those. So this guitar has Sperzel locking tuners on it. You can see these screw down to lock the string in the post. And I don't know, when I'm stringing these up, I just pull them all the way through. Maybe leave a little bit of slack. I can show that. So maybe just a little bit, but barely any, because you don't need many wraps on the post with these locking tuners. So once you've got it through, you reach back there and tighten that up. You don't over tighten. From what I've heard, it's a bad thing. If you really tighten that down too much, it can hurt the tuner. Cut it off, tighten up, done. It's the nice thing about these locking tuners, they're so easy to string. Just sighting down the neck. This has a fair amount of relief in it. Not sure if you can get that, but it does. And playing it seems like down low on the low frets, no buzz, no problem, but up high, maybe just a tiny bit. A little plonky. And the action is reasonable. It's .060. So I think a little tighten of the truss rod, make the neck flatter, will allow us to get rid of some of that buzz up high. With this type of a truss rod, usually you're going to need to loosen the D and the G strings and get them out of the way so the truss rod wrench can get in there. This thing was so loose. Usually you start off by giving it a little half turn, loosen, and then you start tightening. And you can periodically check down the neck. I already see that it's gotten rid of most of that relief. Okay, so we've got the neck flat now. Maybe too flat, but time will tell. Still sounds good down on the low frets, which is good. And it does sound better on the higher frets, except maybe the low E string. But we got to keep in mind that because we tightened the truss rod, it brought the action down less than .050. So after you tighten the truss rod, you want to look at your action again. Of course, tune up, look at your action, and it should be a little lower as it is now. So I'm going to raise the action on this guy. First thing, you're going to want to loosen the strings just a turn or two. Otherwise it'll just be harder to raise that bridge. With this particular bridge, we'll want to loosen these Allen screws. Otherwise it will resist the adjustment of that bridge piece, because those will be holding on to the post. Okay, I think I've got them loose enough now. These have a slot in the top, so you can just turn it with a slotted screwdriver. Couple turns, check the action. Even though the strings aren't tight right now, I can still see needs to come up a little more. I'm shooting for about 0.060 at the 12th fret. Now we're getting close. Now the strings are just at 0.060 at the 12th, which is what I generally shoot for. Now let's see if it's buzzing anywhere. Low frets are still good. Up high. Sounding better. Okay, so everything sounding better, even that low E string. When I'm getting close on a setup, just play all over the neck, every single fret. Just listening for buzz or anything funny sounding. Just to recap, when we started, there was a bunch of relief in the neck, and it was buzzing up here a little bit. So we tightened the truss rod, which flattened out the neck, and that brought the action a little too low. So we raised up the action to where we want it, which is 0.060, and now we're listening for any buzz anywhere on the neck, and we're not hearing any. So you end up with a nice flat neck, the action where you want it, and so far seeming to play good all over the neck. That's still to be determined, but still a little something if you really pick hard on this string. Possibly tightening the truss rod like one more quarter turn might do the trick. So for me at least, sighting down the neck can only tell me so much, and when I'm getting real close to where I want to be, sometimes I'll take a measure of the relief, which means putting the capo at the first fret. I like to fret at the 17th, right where the body and the neck meet here. The neck meets the body. And then checking with a feeler gauge, 8th fret. So we've got a little more relief in this neck than I had thought from looking at it. It's still got at least 0.010. So yeah, I'll probably give it one more little turn on that truss rod. Okay, so tighten the truss rod another half turn. That seemed to help up here. That low E string sounding pretty good. But again, when you tighten the truss rod, you're going to bring your action down. So I'm just a little below 060 now. You see how it's playing? Some people might be happy there. Some people want real low action, and they're willing to put up with a little bit of a choke to their strings, like hurry and sustain a little bit. Hear that little kind of clickiness. For me, I will bring the action up. Just give it a little half turn here. Bring that bridge up. Now we're at closer to right at 060. It's ringing better. Less of that clicky choke sound. And of course, I should be tuning in between any adjustment like that, because it doesn't give you a true picture. If you adjust the height of the bridge and you start playing to hear how it sounds, but you haven't retuned, you're not really getting an idea of what the guitar sounds like or plays like. You need to be in tune. This is coming pretty close now. On this guy, The Tune-O-Matic, it happens to have the screws facing this way, so you just need to get a real small Phillips head to get in there and tune the string open, get it in tune, and then play at the 12th fret. And we're a little sharp, so we need to increase the length of the string. That means this saddle needs to move back, and that probably means I need to loosen from this side. Let's see. Nope. Tighten. It's moving that saddle back. I go back and retune with the string open. Check the 12th, and that's just about in tune at the 12th. And we're going to do that for all 6 strings. Play them open, tune up, and then check the tuning at the 12th. One thing I encourage you to do is to use your ears and not just the tuner when you're setting intonation. A lot of times I can tell when something's a little off, even when the tuner's telling me it's right on. So each time you do a setup, play something that your ear likes, I guess I'd say, that you get used to hearing. Playing some triads up and down the neck. That tells me if it's in tune on the low frets and in the middle of the neck and up higher on the neck. These are all sounding pretty good. This thing's all intonated, all good, but you want to give it a check with it plugged in. Make sure the pickups are the same volume, which they are. Check the middle position. Make sure the pickups aren't out of phase. And listen to your electronics. Listen for any scratchiness. And that'll be the last step.